Hi, Dr. Paul Haider, Master Herbalist here. Well, there's a lot of things going on in the world, and today's the day before Christmas Eve, and I think it's the time to rejoice and allow ourselves to know that, you know, we can change this world and make a difference and allow ourselves to be the change in the world. I think Jesus came along, that's what we're celebrating, to help the human race advance itself. And we're moving slowly, very slowly. I think Martin Luther King Jr. said it exactly right. We have guided missiles and misguided men. And I think it's really important that we allow ourselves to become, really guided men with using wisdom. And there's a lot of spiritual wisdom out there that a lot of people are not using. Absolutely, positively. And this is super important. And some of the things that I think are really important, Jesus had a lot of divine powers, and no doubt about that. He brought people back to life, was able to heal the sick and those who were lame and all kinds of different things. And this was to allow people to be brought to him and so he could do his teachings. And I think that's really important, that we allow ourselves to know that there are a lot of divine things happening in this world, and if we just open our eyes to the miracles that are happening around us all the time, absolutely, positively. And he also taught love, and to love thy neighbor as thyself. That was the final, most important teaching of all. And even at the Last Supper, he was washing the feet of his disciples and anointing them with oil and kissing them. And I think that's really brings us down to being humble and letting go of our ego and allowing ourselves to let go of our stuff that holds us back from being that loving, kind person that we really are deep down inside. Every one of us has a light deep down inside, but are we allowing ourselves to move forward and let go of the anger, let go of the hatred, let go of the ego, let go of the all the stuff that hold us back from being that kind person? And a lot of people are still in the process. And I have to say myself too, moving forward is important, absolutely, positively. If we think we have attained it, that's when we have not gotten there whatsoever. It is not going to happen. And Jesus was a perfect example of that. I think that we have to be a perfect example of forbearance. Forbearance is allowing ourselves to put up with stuff. It's not easy. So you have to go through a lot of stuff. Especially when it's, Christmas time and the holidays and New Year's and things get hard. And even throughout the year, a lot of times people get on our nerves, and the forbearance, that's part of it. We have to put up with that. It's okay, let it go, and allow ourselves to, move forward. And we also have to have charity in mind. I think that's really important. Charity at all times. And I think a lot of people have forgotten about that. I think, when I was a little kid, in our little town of Woodland, California, when I was very small, probably 7 or 8, I remember having a Christmas parade there, and it was beautiful, and all the people came. It was, in the 50s, and people had no money, absolutely no money. My family didn't have money, absolutely no money whatsoever, and they lived on the credit at the grocery store. There's no doubt about it. My dad would pay it off every month, and that was a great thing. And at the end of the Christmas parade, they had this huge sleigh with Santa Claus on it, and had all these brown paper grocery bags, and they were filled with apples and oranges and nuts and candy and things like that, and they were giving them to people. I mean, full big shopping bags to people, and I was like, wow. I remember that so vividly. It was like, wow, look at that. And we were given one of those bags, and it was just, we were so grateful that, people were so kind and loving and caring. And it's really, that's the way we need to be. We have to be living in that heart full of kindness, a heart full of love, a heart full of giving, and allow ourselves to move forward and be willing to give our fruits of our labor, the oranges, the apples, the all kinds of the sweets of our presence in that person's life, so that we can make a change in that person's life. I also think it is also important to have compassion. Sometimes we have a lot of beggars in the area, and it's important to have compassion for those people. I might give them $1, but I don't know where it's going to be going. Maybe for their next fix. It may go get them. I always tell them, go get something to eat. But we have to have compassion no matter what's going on. They're going through what they need to go through in order to attain their final enlightenment in this life or another life. So we have to allow ourselves to love no matter what. It's also important that we have great faith, that everything will work out one way or another, and see the good in all things. And I think that's what's really missing in a lot of people these days, that we have forgotten to see the good in all things, even though it may seem bad. Now, eventually, it's going to work out good, because something good will come out of this. But do we have the ability to sustain ourselves with good thoughts and good love and and peace inside? There was a great study that happened not too long ago. They took mice and they made these mice totally fearful of cherry blossoms. You know what I mean? Don't go to Washington, D.C., mice. Lots of cherry blossoms in Washington, D.C. And I think that's important that they took and bred these mice from one generation to the next, and they did it for 8 generations. And they found that the offspring of these mice were also afraid of cherry blossoms. So that's interesting. So we can actually pass fear down from one generation to the next, absolutely positively. So we have to allow ourselves to know that we need to heal our fears deep down inside, so that we don't pass it on to our offspring. And that's why we're here. One of the great reasons we're here is to get rid of our fears, so that we can be in total peace and total love, and let go of all that negative stuff that we hold deep down inside, because we don't want to give it to our kids. We don't want to give it to our a daughter or a son, and that'll be passed on to their kids. And so it's really important that we allow ourselves to heal all that negativity stuff. Also, the most important one is to love. The love without boundaries. And that was his greatest teaching of all. And he was tempted many times, to give up everything and have power, give up everything, and have lots of money, give up everything, and be a big king and that type of thing. But no, he wouldn't do it. And so we have to allow ourselves that love is more important than any of those things, and allow ourselves to move to a higher plane of vibration, which is amazing. When we start to walk to the beat of a different drummer, and we start to be our own person deep down inside, and we start giving up what society thinks and what the neighbors think, and we start giving up what the rest of our family thinks, and all these different things, and we start being our own powerful person deep down inside, then people start to gather around that person, and then they say, wow, that's pretty amazing. And Jesus even said, you can do all of this and more. And I know that absolutely, that we have that power deep down inside of us if we are willing to actually stop for a minute and stop being fearful. Fear keeps that from manifesting from inside out. You know, that fear I was talking about just a minute ago that gets passed down from generation to generation. There's only two things that can live in the heart, either fear or love. So what do we choose, fear or love? And I'm going to choose love. There's no doubt about it. And I hope that you will, climb on board that bus, because it's time for that bus to take off for, Mars and beyond. We need to really allow ourselves to spread that love and spread it throughout the cosmos, because, well, once we have that love deep down inside in an amazing way, nothing can stop us. Absolutely nothing can stop us. And Jesus had that. There's no doubt about it. He gave up his own happiness, absolutely, positively. He gave up his own comforts and, everything that was important. He was a beggar and went from place to place, and people would give them food. The disciples and him, he said, told his disciples, leave everything. You don't need kind of a bunch of clothes. You don't need food, all these different things. Let it go. And he was even talking to the rich man. He said, sell all this and come with me. And then the rich man goes, no, I can't do that. So we have to have some faith. And also, Jesus gave up all prosperity, you know what I mean? There was nothing, he had nothing, and he gave up his safety, in fact. And he was willing to undergo the slings and arrows of those who were in power at the time. And that ended up with his crucifixion, there's no doubt about that. And he did not give up, no matter what. And I think that's what we have to be like. We can't give up, absolutely, positively. And we have to allow ourselves to forgive ourselves. That's one of the most important things. I can think of a man right now. He has done a lot of things in the past he's not proud of, and he keeps beating himself up all the time because of that. And I think that's very hurtful for himself. It keeps him from actually healing from the inside out. We have to forgive everyone else. We have to understand that we are forgiven no matter what. Because we are forgiven from a higher power. And we also have to forgive ourselves. There's no doubt about that. And if we don't do that, we can never move forward to make great changes in our lives. And what is forgiveness for ourselves? But to love ourselves. And we can't love anybody else until we can love ourselves. So allowing ourselves to open our heart to the first one we see in the mirror is the first way to heal, and allow ourselves to grow and change, become somebody that we really enjoy, and allow ourselves to know that things are important now and important later, and that things will change in an amazing way. I know that if we allow ourselves to just embrace ourselves, give ourselves that great big hug and care for ourselves, start eating right, you know what I mean? If you go on my diet at paulhaider.com and go up on the right-hand corner, my diet, and start eating according to my diet, then we can start healing some of these ailments we have inside of our body. Also starting to let go of all the negativity that we have in our life, and let that all go. Start doing meditation so we can connect to the higher power and listen. There's no doubt about that. That's a part of listening. And we can let go of all of this anxiety and depression and fear, and let go of all the things that keep us held back from becoming that divine power within ourselves, as Jesus said. And to allow ourselves to move forward in life and feel free. And freedom is what it's all about. And this time of year, there's no better thing. You know what I mean? Even if Santa Claus is not coming down your chimney, we can be free inside. And but all it takes is one thing: love. And that's what Jesus was the epitome of that. Maybe there's no gifts coming today. I mean, on Christmas. But there is one great gift that we were given by Jesus, and that is love. And if we allow ourselves to grow and change and become that person who can love, Just like Scrooge, you know what I mean? In the story, The Christmas Carol, he allowed himself to break free of all that negativity. And he became the love who spread to other people. And what do you know? That love came back to him a thousandfold. And this is an amazing thing. We give love, love will come back. So allow yourself to love and have forbearance and allow yourself to have charity and allow yourself to have compassion and faith and love thy neighbor as thyself, and great things are going to happen. There's absolutely no way it can be any other way. So I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. If you care to get a hold of me, my phone number is 831-869-9119. 831-869-9119. My email is drpaulhaider@gmail.com. That's drhaider at Haider, Haider, excuse me, Dr. Paul Haider at gmail.com. drpaulhaider at gmail.com. We got it right. And if you want to text me or WhatsApp me, or you can go to my Facebook page under Dr. Paul Haider and message me there. Any way or shape or form you want to get a hold of me. Remember, I go to bed early. I'm going to bed at 8 o'clock before the chicken, so I'll help you in any way, shape, or form I can. And all my consultations are free, and would just like to help you in amazing ways. Please subscribe. I'd like to get my numbers up more and tell other people. And please watch those little ads there. I don't put them up there, AdSense does, but it helps to bring a few cents towards my wife and I, and we appreciate that greatly. If you care to make a donation, go to my website at paulhaider.com. That's www.paulhaider.com. And up in the right-hand corner, you'll see donation, and to make a donation there, and we greatly, greatly appreciate that, especially this time of year. And remember, most of all, above everything else, remember one thing. I love you.